Hi everyone, we're super excited as joining the program with us is Lee Woodward. Lee is the author of the Complete Salesperson's course. Many people know Lee in industry and also for his amazing podcast, We Are Selling. Last time I had a look, We Are Selling had over 100,000 downloads. So Lee's actually going to talk to us in regards to the customer service. What's important out there in industry and why. So thank you, Lee. Thank you for joining us and we're glad you're here on the program.
Emma, thank you so much and great to be here on such an important topic in an industry that often lets its guard down in the customer experience and how people feel about agents.
Absolutely, Lee. So a very important topic for us to be discussing because you're out there in the day-to-day field working with our top performers, and for yourself, you've been out there in the industry as well doing the day-to-day tasks that we are doing. So if you could just share with us, Lee, what our top performers are actually doing and what's expected of us in industry.
Yeah, it's an interesting topic, and the Complete Salesperson course has had 10,000 agents go through it. When I first came into real estate, obviously, I wasn't from real estate. I was a plumber prior to coming into the real estate industry, which was a huge advantage for me because that is about customer experience. Halfway through my plumbing career, I was taken off the tools and the boss said, "You're off the tools." And I said, "Am I sacked?" He said, "No, but I don't know what you do out there, but everyone goes ahead with your quotes." And that was as simple, and you don't know what you don't know. So when I was out there at 21 years of age as a plumber, I got into quoting, which is winning the business. But winning business, people only go with you if they feel safe. But I was driving the immaculate ute. I had a polo shirt on. I was well dressed. Yet the people competing against me just came off a hot roof, sweating. They hadn't shaven. And it was amazing how even in that customer experience of someone saying yes to someone before they even experience what it is, it all starts at that first introduction and method of introduction, so you can actually get to the part where you actually do the work.
So loads of things that are happening out there, aren't they, Lee, in regards to how we're approaching people, how we're keeping people informed, obviously the use of AI. What are you finding out there? What are you seeing the trends? Have we still got some old school, touch base? I'm very much that person. I like to be in front of my customers and clients and always, be there with empathy. What's happening out there?
Yeah, well, you're right. Firstly, the world's gone AI nuts, and yet we work in a people business. So I think AI for administration, fantastic. Copy, arranging things, that's all good. But in every business experience, there is that lead generation, lead conversion, client fulfillment. They're the three major swim lanes. And the most important part of the customer experience in real estate is the face-to-face moment. And even people trying to generate AI video where it's not really them, it's actually fake. It's not authentic. And I think more than ever, people want to meet someone, look them in the eye and say, "Okay, I think you're capable of doing it. There's my set of keys. I'm going to leave it up to you." And this is where in real estate, a lot of people are promoting themselves of, why they'd be the best person to sell the home, represent the person. But then behind the scenes of that, in an unstructured way, people haven't worked out their listed to settle checklist. Now, the listed to settle checklist is 138 actions from signing that property, launching that property, attract, engage, commit in the marketplace to finally landing at that moment where the nominated funds go into their bank account without being hacked. And there is so much in that, and without people looking at that full experience, and there's so many milestones that you go through. Well, there's 10 milestones that you go through from activating a property to the actual settlement of it. And I urge everyone out there to answer this question. How do we sell a house? Now, a lot of people think, what do you mean? We whack it on the net, we do the opens. No, they're just some of the milestones. But there is so much that goes on. And let's go for an example. Let's say you have actually won the business, because that takes away all the prospecting side and so forth. And the owner said, "Okay, Lee, I'm going to give it to you." And the agent gets quite excited because I've got this listing, look at me, I'm ringing bells. But it's a known fact that the very next day, the owner thinks, maybe I've made the wrong decision. Maybe I should have gone with Ray White. Maybe I should have gone with LJ Hooker. So building the the emotional bank account is one of the first things that you have to do. And the emotional bank account, Emma, is like a normal bank account. If you put funds in, you put funds in. There's funds to draw upon when you need it. So I say to everyone, communicate with the owner every day for the first 9 days. And that could be phone call, it could be text message, but just saying to someone, hi Emma, just letting you know the photographer has been booked. He'll be there next Tuesday. I will be there for the shoot. Really looking forward to getting some incredible photos on your property. Yes, and then the thank you for listing email goes out, which has got all the go-wrongs. And then that's followed by a phone call. Emma, I sent you an important email. Did you receive it? Excellent. Now, there was 10 points in there about someone may knock on your door and that don't ever let anyone into the home. Someone may ask you, what would you take for it? Never discuss price. And I think having an opportunity where we educate the owner to understand all the ups and downs of a marketplace. And I just had a moment in my mind there of, if you ask, I've just got back from the Complete Salesperson course for 2 days at the Hunter Valley, where we had a wonderful 123 people turn up, inclusive of one of the top teams in the country. So we had Team Steinway at the conference as well, which is obviously a local gig for them. Yes. But I'll say to the audience, what is it we do for a job? And everyone has all these little answers. And then the answer I'm looking for is this. Our job is to protect the asset. And when you understand that as a concept, and someone will say, oh, what do you mean by that? Well, anyone can whack it on REA, but did you do the property improvement plan? Yes. And, I've got agents out there that run these price improvement programs or property improvement programs, and it can make up to $500,000 difference in a sale of some of these top-end homes. And absolutely. That's the customer experience. How much profit did we generate on their behalf?
Yes, Lee, the styling experience, or making sure that our clients understand the first impression when a buyer walks into their property. So having the styling companies come in, or if the owner doesn't have the budget, to actually incorporate companies that have like the Afterpay or the systems put in place so people can actually handle that to get the property set right. I remember the story that I have heard from yourself and Robin in regards to your mother-in-law. What happened out there, not only do you talk about this as the best practice, you actually put it in play. Can you actually share that situation with us?
Yeah, that was an amazing experience. So Robin's mum was going into a retirement village. And I'll give you the whole scene. It was a little townhouse near the bowling club. And Nan's place had brown doors, golden knobs, brown architraves, and it was Nan's place. Yeah. And we moved Nan out. I said to Rob, let's do a timed auction and a price improvement plan. And Rob said, why are we doing a timed auction? I said, well, we're teaching everyone, so we may as well do one, because obviously with COVID, it came in, it was one of those things that had to happen. So we used SaleFunder, and SaleFunder, type in the address, and we're allowed up to $20,000, which we didn't need, but we did use $14,000. So we went in, had it all stripped. Yeah. The painters went in for 3 weeks and painted it the greatest colour in the world, which is white. And then the stylist went in and did a beautiful job in coastal. Now, the property was very easy to price. It was worth $900,000 to $950,000. There were so many of those sales around it. But with those funds, we also got a building report, a pest report, and a strata report. And the reason we did that is, being a timed auction, we didn't want anyone spending money who may have missed out on it. Having 30 people order building reports and pest reports, which they can if they wish, but we didn't want that to happen. And the strata report wasn't good. And you're far better to give someone not a good strata report than them spend money to obtain one.
Right, absolutely.
Anyway, the agent selected was one of Robin's girlfriends. It wasn't to do with profile or anything like that. It was just one of Robin's girlfriends who she trusts. And Tracy said, oh, I've never done a timed auction. I said, either have we. So let's see how we go. And she goes, but I've got someone who's going to buy this. They're going to love to buy it straight away. And we said, that's all good, but we really want to go through the entire process. And the person of interest was an elderly couple, and they put an offer in. We'd set the reserve at $900 because it was a timed auction. You've got to do that on day one. And the first offer came in at $920. And they had to scan the QR code, go through the process, put their offer in. They've got a digital paddle, and so suddenly we're over reserve. It's on the market, which means for buyer and seller, it was clear and transparent. And every inquiry after that, we said, we've actually hit reserve. We're playing for keeps. And when the consumer can see that this person's made a higher bid, they can choose if they make a higher bid. Whereas in traditional real estate, the agent may say we got a higher offer, and there's a concern there of, are you telling me the real deal? And we've got a lot of media around that at the moment. Anyway, Emma, to cut the long story short, it went for 1.211.
Wow, amazing.
Which was just 200 and something thousand above expectation. Nan was like, wow, tax-free. And she was going into a lifestyle village. So that made a significant difference on her life. And for anyone who's had to put family into a lifestyle village, it is not cheap to take one of the apartments in there, and you must have the funds. So suddenly that was a life-changing moment due to a process. And the customer experience for vendor and purchaser, we had so many buyers miss out, but they all came up after and they were like, all good, congratulations to the person. We just couldn't go that far. But the purchaser felt protected, that they could see every bid coming in, and everyone's getting notified by text message anyway. And I'm glad you brought that up, Emma, because that was a significant change for me in the world of real estate. Because in being in this industry for 30 years and hearing all the bad things that you hear about the industry, digital and transparency, well, let's look at that. You know, people can order a pizza or a share ride, and they can see it on their phone moving up the street, yet you're about to purchase a property and you've got no visibility at all. It doesn't make sense that there should be a notification, and that way the purchasing community can say, I'm out, but I feel okay with that, versus it's sold and I would have gone higher than that and you didn't let me know. And I think we're at this beautiful time where technology for notification purposes and transparency is such a powerful part of what we do.
Yes, that's a big one, Lee, transparency and being prepared. Having all the information there for people is really important, because loads of people, as we know out there, are set ready. They're ready to go. They want the information now. We've just had the changes here in the legislation in Queensland, where we're finding a little bit of a delay happening in regards to getting our paperwork in order before we can actually go to contract to sale with buyer. Can you tell us out there, you work with some top performers, you just had an amazing conference with some of the leading agents there, how are they finding, how are they actually getting the process to get their properties listed right through to settled?
What a great question. And the answer for a lot of people is difficult. So, for example, the Matt Steinway system, we did that 22 years ago, and we just redid the audio for that about 8 weeks ago. But in the Matt Steinway team, there's now 7 team members working on the same properties. So if you're a solo agent and you might have Emma, where you are, you have a wonderful essential services team where Dane's providing all these wonderful people to strengthen the customer experience. And then you've got a solo agent who's trying to do everything themselves. And that's where I think it becomes a challenge. So working in an office where there is essential services, great administration, and some places have essential services, but they can't keep up with the pace of the deals coming through. Whereas in the Matt Steinway system, in the Matt Steinway team, it's about 20 sales a month that team's making. So you need that amount of sets of hands.
Volume. Absolutely.
You need 2 dedicated people just on buyer inquiry, getting the information back to them, arranging those inspections, and then escalating that up to the listing agents at the right time. For the listing agents, they're out there doing the property assessments, probably 8 a day at some time. So there's 3 listers in that unit to keep up with the customer request. And then there's the administration. And actually, administration is not a fair word for the wonderful lady that does that role. It's more operations, and they're running that listed to settle checklist purely for the team, nobody else. So even though Matt's company has essential services, it's still brought in-house. And the budget's there for that, meaning they're writing such incredible numbers. But for the consumer, they may meet one of the listers and think, okay, you're 2.75% of the sale price, this other person's 2%. But if you look at the significant difference between how that's executed versus one person trying to do anything, and I say that all the time, 1 for 1 is expensive, 1% for one person. Yet when you're getting a unit, an effective business unit look after you, there's a significant difference in the results you're going to receive.
Yes, so important. Having your client understand how many people are actually assisting behind the scenes to make sure the property is launched correctly all the way from list to settle. So is there a system that's been put in play that you find that's actually working out there in industry? Also with the client nurturing, what are you seeing out there that's working, Lee?
Yeah, so in your lead generation and looking after customer experience, one of the most important tribes of data is your established clients. So established clients, it was a transaction of a sale or a vendor, and having them on a campaign where there is all these touch points throughout the year is critical. And the first two basic touch points are going to be the price update, and that's done every 6 months, so there's 2 of those a year. Then there's the anniversary card, the anniversary call, the Christmas card, the Christmas call. But one thing that we're really stressing at the moment is the phone calls of the just to let you know set of calls. So, for example, I could be driving down the street. I see a Ray White sign pop up in my neighbourhood. I rush back to the office, do a find of Area 3, because that's the neighbourhood that it was. And it shows me all my potential sellers, established clients, my contacts for that area. So, Emma, if you were one of my established clients, I'd reach out and say, hi, Emma, Lee from LWTS Realty. Just wanted to reach out and let you know that Ray White have listed 12 Marshall Street. And I hope they do an incredible job, because the sale result of that will be supporting evidence for your own home. And actually the person who buys that is going to be the right ideal candidate profile for your own home. So I'll keep track of that one and let you know what it sells for. But that's going to be a great indicator for us. I've actually spoken to a few buyers already who are going to go and see that one, and I hope they love it because it's a great area. But as soon as it sells, I'll let you know. And just that check-in call, just to let you know, or it could be another call of, hi, Emma, it's Lee. Just to let you know, there's been an Aldi food store approved for your little shopping village. And Aldi do the most extensive research. This is so good for your property to have a facility like that in that little shopping centre, and obviously they're taking the big corner of it, but it's just been approved, and that's great news for your part of town.
Yes, I love this, Lee. So obviously working with the community and informing the community. So you're not just the real estate agent, you're actually part of the community as an informer. So I remember many times that people actually, you're their go-to person, which is an awesome place to be, because you're not just, Emma, the real estate agent, or Lee, the real estate agent. You're actually a part of the community, which will enhance your future growth for sure.
Yeah, and even as simple as having a community drop-off. So I know when I first started in real estate and marketing came in and said, Lee, there's 100 drop-offs for you. And it'd be Monday, and she'd say to me, they better not be here on Friday. And what you had to do every afternoon is look at all the clients that you were connected with, and 3:30 to 4 o'clock was the milk run, and you just pull up out the front and say, hi, Emma, just want to drop this off for you. And it had just listed, just sold, an article of interest about should you move, should you renovate. Very basic, but just a great real estate drop-off. But suddenly they'd see a house is sold, and they go, oh, mine's heaps better than that, and it would stimulate them to want to give you a call back. But if you can get 100 drop-offs out there, that's 100 connects. And another thing that we're finding really good at the moment is visual prospecting. So Emma, we've got we got 2 large glasses in front of the agents, and we put 100 marbles in them. And every time they get a connect, they've got to move a marble. Every time they get a connect, they've got to move a marble. But just getting 100 connects a week is really, a minimum of 100 connects a week. Otherwise, you'll end up locked. You'll seize up in this communication process that you've got to have with your community.
That's fantastic. Visual prospecting, anything to help us to get through that prospecting or the many prospecting tasks that we do. That funnel, I'll have to try that, Lee. Also, in regards to the students that are doing the licensing or just finished their courses, and also the people that have been in industry for a long time. I know myself, after 33 years, I've done your complete salesperson course 4 times and just love it. Forever learning. What do you find is the best step, or what's the next stage for people once they're actually got their license, their next go-to? What do you recommend for us out there, Lee?
Yeah, you're quite right. So you do your formal training, which is exactly what you're doing there, and do so well. You've got your CPD, your registration, and then obviously your full license. Once you've got that, you go, okay, I'm allowed to sell a house, but what do I do? So coming to my work is more street-based training. And I pretty much only do 2 things. What do you say? What do you send? And words are such a powerful part of the real estate industry. So people come to the Complete Salesperson course to learn the prospecting sequence, the listing sequence, and the vendor management sequence. And those 3 sequences of lead generation, lead conversion, and client fulfillment is what the entire course is all about. And then we do a business framework with them, which teaches them how to capture data, and then what do you send? And a send could be a drop-off, it could be a price update, but then you've got to connect, and that's the staying in touch phone calls and warming up the data. So one day you get the moment to present, and then as soon as you get to present, well then that's when it's game on. How you deliver the fees, how you discuss the staged marketing approach, and then you've got to compete. So you've got to put your proposal or plan together, and then it's listed. And once it's listed, the listed to settled checklist, which is the entire customer experience, kicks in. Then it's sold, and sold to settlement is such an important part, yet people quite often stuff up that part and they go silent. Yeah, and that's that peak moment where the owner's, okay, well, what happens now? And there's no moving checklist, there's no checking calls. And then quite often, unfortunately in real estate, on settlement, a couple of days before, the agent will ring up saying the buyer needs to come through for a pre-settlement inspection, but no one communicated with the owner that that was going to happen. And they've got stuff everywhere, boxes, they're in tracksuit pants, and they can say, I'll never use that agent again, or because they weren't informed. And a well-informed owner is easier to manage. Yet if you were my settling vendor, Emma, and I gave you a call and said, hi, Emma, it's Lee. How are you feeling? And then I'd say to you, Emma, the property you're going to, has the agent arranged your pre-settlement inspection yet? And people go, what's that? And you say, well, you just got to make sure the dishwasher's there, they haven't switched the pool pump off, and everything's in order for you. They go, no, they haven't done that. We'll reach out to them and find out the date. The date of your one is on the 20th of September. But it's a nice way of, I'm helping, I'm informing, and it's part of a process versus so many people never use an agent again. They see the disbursement of the fees and they brought the buyer through at the end, and the whole customer experience is ruined on that one point.
Customer service, extremely important. So on a closing note, Lee, what do you say to our students out there in regards to customer service? Keeping the customer informed, yes, but working with them to that set time frame so you've got a client for life.
Yeah, my biggest advice there is that listed to settled checklist is required, and it's got peak moments to it. So the thank you for listing email, peak moment. Then you would use the shift to focus email, which is basically, we've done all the marketing and preparation. I must now shift my focus onto finding the purchaser. But let them know that. Don't just go missing. And then you've got the continuous reporting, and that could be text, voice. You might even do a video note and send it to them, just so that they're getting that momentum of each day and week of what you're doing. Then you've got your progress report. How many people have come through, what the feedback was. Discussing the pricing is a really important one. So if we were on the market, Emma, I'd say to you in the set up to sell meeting, I'd say, Emma, there's 3 prices we need to discuss each week. The first one is the buyer engagement level. Now, the greatest homes in the world remain unsold due to price. And there's a price where people are interested and not. So I need to let you know that number. It's not an offer, it's just where they think it is based on others they've seen. The second number is going to be your expectation. If I was on the market, I would have an enormous expectation of what I'm going to get, and you're going to have that feeling as well. But each week, your expectations will modify as you get more feedback and more interest and withdrawn interest. So you might have someone who loves your home, but they buy one down the road for 50 grand cheaper and it was bigger. And that's going to affect your emotions or expectations. But the third number is the most important one. Emma, I need your consent every week to say to you, I think this is the number where it's going to sell. Now, it doesn't mean we got an offer, but if you were to say to me, Lee, what's going to pull it up? Where's it going to be? I need your consent to say, I think it's here. Based on the two numbers I'm seeing, if I was calling it today, I think it was going to be here. Now, it may go above that, but I just need to ground the situation and tell you what you need to know. So when offers do come in, we've got some sort of reference point to what we're communicating. So that I would definitely do that, and the reporting, and then as soon as it's sold, increase the communication right through to settlement, because that's your peak time to be referred as well.
Thank you again, Lee. It's always great to work with you and the insights of managing customer service in our property industry. Thank you.